So, maybe we're good now. That was bonkers. Before I get ahead of myself, I'm going to double check that. Looks like everything's going okay. All right. Here we are, an hour and a half later than I wanted to start, even though it was an unplanned stream. Oh, it is just been a couple of weeks there, nerds. And it's going to be a few more weeks yet. As we talked about in the last couple of streams, there's a lot going on. Relocating my life is apparently very much demanding. We'll just leave it at that. So, there we go. Hi, Chris. Oh boy, this is pretty insane. So, it seems that everything is just fine now. We're gonna talk. We're gonna be fairly brief this week. I'm not even gonna worry about getting into the sponsor nonsense. Do go check out. Oh, crap! I have my shirt. I got my music nerd shirt. Screw it. It's already been a crazy stream. I'm just gonna go grab it. So give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna go grab the shirt so I can show you that it's pretty awesome. Okay, so music nerd shirt is real. I have it. Huzzah! Yours will be a little bit different. This is more of a tester shirt than anything. So, oh, either way, I love the design. I am wearing the design, and you should too. Link to the store are down in the description. Okay, so like I said, we're not really going to do that though. This stream, we're just going to get into. Make sure I have all my things open properly. Yes, okay. All right. Let's read the news. Let's do the news thing and read the news. All right. So we have well. Okay, cool. Let's talk about the stuff. Let's just go straight to the big one because I didn't watch this until literally just before starting the stream. Apparently, the Doomsday X-Men trailer has dropped. We only have 3 confirmations of actors, but they were already 3 that we knew were in it. Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, and what's his toes that plays Cyclops. We're going to get to that here in a second. Also, the Thor trailer officially dropped, and it is the one that we were talking about in the previous stream that I thought was AI generated. It wasn't. The 4th trailer has also already leaked online. What is his name? James Marsden. There we go. All right, so let's read this real quick. Just if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's very short, and it doesn't really give us anything we don't already know, but it's interesting. Marvel Studios officially dropped Avengers Doomsday X-Men teaser confirming long-rumored return of Fox-era mutants. It wasn't rumored. We got them in the... well, we didn't get Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. That was technically new. I'm pretty sure we got James Marsden, though, in the official casting announced trailer thing that was like 6 hours long. It was just a camera panning across the backs of their seats. Pretty sure Marsden was in that list. I think Stewart and McKellen were as well, but we knew Patrick Stewart was going to come back at least this time. Ian McKellen, I think, was more of a gamble, but still pretty sure it was going to happen. Trailer marks the third in the series of character-focused teasers attached to Avatar, Fire and Ash, blah blah. Following the Steve Rogers and Thor trailers, watch below. Fourth trailer has also leaked online, which we will talk about in a moment. The trailer shows Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen as Magneto, sitting across from each other, playing chess in the ruins of Xavier's school for gifted youngsters. The mansion is visibly aged and broken down, signaling a darker timeline or the aftermath of past events. James Marsden also shows up back as Cyclops, unleashing a full optic blast in what appears to be an updated take on the X-Men animated series suit. Yes, it does. That was kind of the coolest thing about the trailer, if I'm being honest. Appears to be an updated blah, 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 linking the Fox films to the animated series classic iconography, because it's about freaking time. Characters see the middle of battle, mid-battle in a fiery setting, delivering a more action-driven moment compared to the other teasers. Trailer ends with return tease. The teaser closes with confirmation text, just like the others. The X-Men will return in Avengers Doomsday. That line reinforces Marvel's positioning of the X-Men as central players in the multiversal. How does it do that, though? How does it reinforce, rather, the positioning of them as central characters? It shows literally nothing that we didn't know. Of course, Cyclops is going to be in there. Of course, he's going to release an optic blast. It's kind of cool that he's wearing the a suit that is reminiscent of the animated series. But I don't think anything about this trailer actually shows this as Marvel positioning them to be central players in the multiversal team-up event. It shows them as an element of said multiversal team-up event, but central player. I mean, the argument could be made, I guess, that because they're the third trailer, that's why they're central characters, central players, rather. But really, that's the only piece of evidence we have. This scene right here that we get with Scott doing the optic blast into the sky could be a flashback. This could be how this could be the battle that destroys the school. This could be a million different things that all could happen in a span of 10 seconds, and then we never see James Marsden again. There's nothing here that confirms or reinforces any of that ideology. So don't let them fool you, kids. Don't get your hope up too high, because then you're going to be even more pissed off by the end of this movie. And I think there's going to be a lot of people pissed off by the end of this first movie, and then even more people pissed off by the end of the second movie. But that's just me. Also officially announced to return from the Fox X-Men universe includes Alan Cumming. We know that because of the announcement. Rebecca Romaine, I'm pretty sure she was in the casting announcement. Kelsey Grammer was part of the casting announcement. Channing Tatum was not officially part of the casting announcement, but he's talked about being on set and stuff. And from Deadpool and Wolverine, yeah. He's kind of given that one away. Avengers Doomsday is scheduled to hit theaters December 18th. Confirmed cast is right there. 33 more rumored. So, pretty epic. You can go watch the trailer. We're not going to do that on stream because that's just silly. And then the other trailer was the Thor trailer, which, again, was not... It was... exactly the one that I saw in the leak that I thought maybe there was some sort of trickery going on. They do those fan edit trailers where they take they take a bunch of different scenes from different movies and then try and pass it off as, oh, this is in the movie for sure. All three of them are in the cast reveal. Thank you, Chris. Comic accurate Sentinel possibly in the trailer too. Yes, kind of. It looks like there might be a Sentinel in the back. That's like I'm saying. It is a battle. We know there's going to be some sort of epic battle, of course. If it is a Sentinel, I'll see if I can even just pull up the. Let's get a different tab. We'll go to YouTube, and we'll pull this bad boy up. Again, I'm not going to play the trailer in stream, but we will look at stills from the trailer in stream. Avengers Doomsday. I want the X-Men trailer, and then we must stop it immediately. Come on now. You can do it. I believe in you, computer. Okay, pause. If it'll listen to me, maybe. Come on, baby, let's go. Okay, it's paused. All right, let's see if we can find... Well, it's going to take a while to load now. Here we go. Let's see if we can find... That's them playing chess. Not sure if it's a sentinel, but it might be. See if we can find this. It's in here somewhere. All right, so here we go. We have Marsden taking off his goggles. Come on now, load the image. I believe in you. Okay, taking off his goggles. Letting go the blast. And then we see, oh yeah, that's legs. Right there. That's sentinel legs. But that's all we get. So close to comic accurate, it would appear that possibly. This is super epic. And like, I really hope that it is legitimately, like, we get to see this battle. I just don't know if that's going to happen. Looks like maybe there's a sentinel head back here. That silhouette looks like it could be a sentinel head as well. So I mean, it could be Galactus. We don't know. That's a silhouette, but it does stand to reason that it would be a sentinel. So back to the things and the stuff. Yeah, pretty awesome, pretty stoked. Let's move on. We're going to Robin Hood, Death of Robin Hood, Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is just trying to be the biggest nerd icon he can possibly be. And I'm definitely here for it because I like Hugh Jackman. But let's talk about the cast of Tomb Raider, shall we? Because this has been on again, off again for so long. And then we got the Sophie Turner out on the town looking like she was training for Tomb Raider, and that just kind of sent the rumor mill into a tizzy, if you will. Amazon has officially revealed the full cast for its upcoming Tomb Raider live-action series, headlined by Sophie Turner as Lara Croft and joined by Sigourney Weaver, and Jason Isaacs in major roles. Jason Isaacs will play Atlas de Mornay, character rooted in Tomb Raider canon. Also, while Sigourney Weaver takes on the role of Evelyn Wallace, described as a mysterious, high-flying woman with her sights set on exploiting Lara's talents. They join Sophie Turner, who stars as Lara Croft, and in what's being described as a globe-trotting action-adventure based on the popular video game franchise. I still don't know how I feel. I mean, like, it's cool that, you know, gingers are getting work still after Hollywood has tried to erase them from existence for so long, but I don't know how I feel about Sophie Turner as Lara Croft. It's a weird choice. She's a fine enough actor, but like, I don't know. I just don't picture her as Lara. Anyway, extended cast and fan favorite characters. Other cast members include Martin Bob Semple as Zip and Bill Patterson as Winston, two names long associated with the franchise. I honestly haven't played a Tomb Raider game since Tomb Raider 3 originally released on like the PlayStation 2. So I have very few frames of reference for this, though I did play the crap out of the first game on my PlayStation 1 and on my PC. I had a copy of both for some reason. Jack Bannon, Jerry, John Heffernan, David, and Celia Imre Francine also appear as characters from the Tomb Raider universe. Additional roles will be played by Patterson, Joseph, yeah, Patterson Joseph. I don't know who that is. Sasha Luss, Juliet Matamed, and August that is a hell of a last name. Wittgenstein. Wittgenstein. I recognize very few of those people. Oh yeah, and we talked about that one too. Tomb Raider boasts plethora of iconic characters behind the scenes. This is all fluff at the end of the article that we don't care about. So yeah, we have a cast. It is official. It's moving forward. Here's to hoping that why can't I think of her name now? It's going to be here in the fluff that we just totally created, written, executive, Amy Waller-Bridge. Let's hope that she is smart enough, because she's talented enough to do this, but let's hope she's smart enough to actually write a compelling story without trying to shoehorn a bunch of personal politics into it, because I think the existence of Lara Croft checks enough boxes that the woke folk should be totally fine with it without her going over the top and making it garbage so that nobody actually wants to watch it. I do think Amy Waller-Bridge is super freaking talented, and she's freaking hilarious as well. So here's to hoping she harnesses that talent and does something good with it. Netflix, I don't care. Avengers Doomsday. Oh, this is the leak trailer. I told you we were going to talk about the leak trailer. Let's get into the leak trailer. Reveals Wakandans, Namor, and The Thing. Fourth Avengers Doomsday trailer is now leaked online, which adds to character rollout teasers tied to Avatar. Why are they all tied to Avatar Fire and Ash? Are they trying to pull the Matrix, where like the Animatrix, one of the Animatrix shorts played before that Dreamcatcher movie that nobody wanted to watch, and in fact everyone went to see the trailer, the short, and then left before the actual movie started back in the day? I think that's what's going on here, because I guess I shouldn't poo-poo too much on the Avatar franchise, because it's each of those movies so far, save for Fire and Ash, has made $1 billion or more. So, like, obviously somebody's watching, but I feel like there's a little bit of Avatar fatigue. But that's just me. Anyway, footage brings together the Wakandans, Namor, and the Fantastic Four, setting the stage for Marvel's full Doomsday trailer. Oh, no. Oh, no. So we kind of have it. Let's see if we can watch this, because I don't know if we can. Let's see what happens. Ooh. That's Namor. That's the Wakandans. That was a really bad edit. That is Ben Grimm. Weird. Okay. The teaser features Letitia Wright as Shuri, Winston Duke as M'Baku, confirming Wakanda's central role. And this doesn't confirm. This, I think, they have a stronger argument than the X-Men movie, because if you listen to the dialogue, the lines that are spoken by Patrick Stewart in the X-Men trailer, he's talking about death. He's asking Magneto if he's ready to die. So that, in my brain, actually more sets the stage for, at the very least, those two characters, if not many more of that version of the X-Men, to be tertiary at best. They're going to be a minor plot point in the overall story of the one movie based on that information. Like, yeah, it's really cool to see Scott's blaster go crazy. It's really cool to see, the mansion again, etc., etc. But if you listen to the dialogue, Patrick Stewart, Professor X, let's use their character names. Professor X is talking about death. He's asking Magneto if he's ready to die. That seems like it's going to be something more passive in nature. This looks like we're putting together a team. So it does. I can understand the argument a little bit better for this leaked trailer than for the X-Men trailer, because this is more proactive, at least the appearance of it being more proactive. Also, the inclusion of Ben Grimm, assuming this is not, because there was that weird jump cut in the middle of it, so there's probably a lot more to this than we're seeing. I mean, it's a trailer, so there's always a lot more to it than we're seeing. But this appears to be them putting together a team, and with the inclusion of Ben Grimm implies, because again, we don't know how exactly the source of this trailer, but that is an implication that the Fantastic Four are going to be essential because they're the newest ones to be added to the universe. Like, if that had been an X-Men character, this could potentially be written off as a minor plot point as well. Being as it is a Fantastic Four character, that definitely lends more to the argument that they're going to have a central role. Anyone involved in this trailer, Namor included, is going to have a central role in the coming conflict, as they state in the article. I'm pretty sure that was Patrick Stewart's voice. 90% sure that was Patrick Stewart's voice. Again, not going to watch it on stream, so I can't confirm that until we're not streaming. But like 90% sure that was Patrick Stewart. Who are you going to be? Are you ready to die, old friend? But again, I could be like I was doing other things while it was playing, so I could have just not been paying close enough attention. Either way, Namor appears alongside Wakanda. The trailer also includes Tenoch Huerta as Namor, marking his return following Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. His inclusion suggests Marvel is continuing to position Talocan as a major geopolitical force with Avengers Doomsday rather than sidelining the character after his debut. Yeah, again, that's purely based on the fact that the Thing is in this. If it was just Namor and the Wakandans, there would still be that potential that they're writing this off as a minor plot point. How Namor aligns with Wakanda, ally, adversary, or something in between remains unclear, which I think is how it should be if we're doing it this way. One of the most notable elements of the leaked teaser is the appearance of Ebon Moss-Bachrach as the Thing from Fantastic Four. The footage offers a brief but clear look at the character who meets M'Baku and the Wakandans. It's also the first time this version of the Fantastic Four has been officially shown in direct contact to the rest of the MCU, which is significant. With Reed Richards and the rest of the team already confirmed for the film, the Thing's appearance reinforces the crossover scale Marvel is aiming for. Teaser rollout nears full trailer. With 4 character-focused teasers now revealed, Steve Rogers, Thor, X-Men, and the Wakanda Namor Fantastic Four trailers, attention now turns to what is thought to be the 5th trailer, the full Avengers Doomsday trailer. And I think they're using the terminology fairly incorrect here. These aren't trailers, these are teasers. Very potentially, we're getting a good amount of footage that isn't in the movie. It's just setting up something that is in the movie. Marvel's done this to us before, so like it's entirely possible that these are just kind of whetting our appetite, if you will. After rumors suggest there could be more character teasers before the full trailer drops during the Super Bowl. The X-Men trailer is also expected to be released officially online this week. Update, it already has. All right, so I think that's all of that. Box office expectations. Can it bring back Marvel's glory days? I think we've kind of beat that dead horse. Wait. This is a follow-up. We're going to go here real quick. This is a follow-up to something we've kind of sort of been keeping tabs on. It's kind of dead at this point, but still interesting to get the little tail end of it. The Rush Hour 4 that we've been talking about is still going to be backed by Trump, is still apparently going to be backed by the Saudis financially, and is now going to be filmed in Saudi Arabia, which is interesting. Another update on the Rush Hour 4, which sees Brett Ratner returning to direct. Latest reveals a huge update. The movie is now targeted to shoot in Saudi Arabia, among other global locations, as producers line up financing. Yes, Donald Trump still wants it to happen. While the distribution deal isn't finalized, Puck News says that Paramount has agreed to give Rush Hour 4 a domestic release across 4,000 theaters. That's what Warner Brothers, which still holds the rights, required to trigger international pre-sale deals and unlock global funding. That theatrical commitment is key to the $100 million in financing that's already been raised by producer Tarek Ben Ammar and Brett Ratner's partner Baman Naraji. The spring or summer shoot is now being discussed depending on talent deals. What is Chris Tucker even doing these days? Like, Jackie Chan's done some stuff, but Chris Tucker kind of fell off, didn't he? Filming in China, Africa, and Saudi Arabia. The film's story reportedly involves wildlife poaching, with scenes planned for China, Africa, and Saudi Arabia. The Saudi shoot is tied directly to the financing, with the kingdom pushing for visibility in global entertainment, just like they're doing with Zack Snyder's UFC brawler movie and their broader push into Hollywood and gaming, which, again, that's the part that we've kind of beat to death as far as our coverage goes. While it's not confirmed if the Saudi Public Investment Fund is directly contributing to production, it seems to line up that they are. The report also adds that Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker haven't signed on yet. Both earned more than $20 million for Rush Hour 3, and while the current team is eager to move forward, their absence gives them leverage now that the project is public. Even so, Puck says everyone wants this to happen, including Trump, who reportedly pushed for the project behind the scenes. If they haven't signed on yet, that puts the producers and the director and stuff into quite the predicament, because that gives them the ultimate leverage, Chan and Tucker. And if one of the two of them or neither of them sign on and they move forward anyway, this movie will bomb horrifically. So, like, that's guaranteed. If you have a Rush Hour movie that does not have Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan in it, it's going to be abysmal. Like, that will just go down in flames. Very interesting. Anyway, again, just a real quick follow-up on that piece. The real thing I wanted to talk about is, oh, good Lord, Simu Liu. We're not going to touch that because that's radioactive. But Dave Filoni officially taking over Star Wars as Lucasfilm president. This has been a long time coming, ladies and gentlemen, and nerds alike. This is just too good to not talk about. So, Galaxy's about to get a new leader. Via Puck News, Disney is reportedly set to confirm that longtime Star Wars creator Dave Filoni will take over Lucasfilm as Kathleen Kennedy steps down from her role as president. If there is going to be one man that takes over for Lucasfilm, one person even that takes over after George Lucas, it should have been Filoni all along. Anyway. Quote, in the next week or two, Disney will finally confirm what we've all known for months. Kathleen Kennedy is indeed stepping down as Lucasfilm president, and Dave Filoni, currently the chief creative officer of the Star Wars unit, will be elevated into the top job. Filoni will be joined by Lin-Wen Brennan, who will handle the business side of the company, while Filoni takes the lead on creative decisions across film, television, and other Star Wars media. Filoni, who has long been seen as the natural successor to Kennedy, no, he's the natural successor to Lucas. Kennedy just got in the damn way. Currently serves as Lucasfilm's chief creative officer and is best known for his work on Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, and Ahsoka. We're just going to forget that Mandalorian Season 3 even happened. Apparently, that's what they're doing with the movie as well. Fans have credited him, with restoring the spirit of Lucas's vision for Star Wars, and his elevation has been expected for months, especially after a series of creative missteps under Kennedy's leadership. Missteps? I feel like that's being generous. While Filoni isn't considered traditional executive, Disney will pair him with Brennan, the current president and general manager of Lucasfilm Business, to balance out the creative and operational aspects of the company. Announced last February, Kennedy's exit comes after more than a decade leading Lucasfilm, a tenure that saw both the highs of The Force Awakens and the lows of the divisive sequel trilogy and several abandoned projects. According to the report, her longtime publicist is already preparing her media farewell tour, expected to be more polished than informative. Kennedy's departure and Filoni's rise mark a major changing of the guard, with Disney's focus now shifting towards rebuilding trust in the Star Wars brand. Oh, he's got his work cut out for him. If he can get, oh God, I'm looking at his face right here. Jon Favreau. Goodness, if you can get Favreau to stick around, I think it will be surprisingly easy for him, considering the massive amount of work they have ahead of them. I think the two of them can do it together very, very easily. That they are good enough storytellers that they can take the pile of poop and polish that turd. Mark's mid-changing guard. Filoni creative. What's next? Filoni's takeover comes with the upcoming releases of Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian and Grogu, May 22nd. And Sean Levy's Star Wars Starfighter, which I'm low-key pretty hype about, not going to lie. Filoni also has Ahsoka Season 2 in development, expected to be released later this year on Disney+. Whether he can turn around the franchise's recent struggles remains to be seen, but fans will likely see this as a long overdue course correction. Yes, we will. I'm not talking about Simu Liu. That's just stupid. That's just asking for stupidness. Let's talk about James Bond since we've been talking about that. So apparently we have a big rumor around the next Bond. Callum Turner, reportedly the new James Bond. It is being claimed that Callum Turner has landed the role of James Bond, with it further claimed the actor has already been telling friends the job is his. Report comes via the Daily Mail, which adds that Turner's fiancée, Dua Lipa, is also being eyed to write and perform the Bond theme. That I'm not as cool with. I mean, I'm sure the kid's a fine actor, but not a Dua Lipa fan. Anyway, according to the outlet, the casting is now the worst-kept secret going. Interesting. Sources close to Turner told the Mail on Sunday that the Fantastic Beasts and Masters of the Air star believes the deal is done. He's been blabbing all over town. Callum is the new Bond. It's been confirmed. Everyone is in his circle is talking about it, a source claimed. Turner, 35. Really? That's the face of a 35-year-old? He looks like he's 10. He's become the odds-on favorite, overtaking names like Aaron Taylor-Johnson, James Norton, and Idris Elba. Idris Elba, would have been really great just because Idris Elba is really great. I just don't think he was ever actually going to be the guy. I think Aaron Taylor-Johnson would have been a really awesome choice. But I don't know. We'll see what this Callum kid has. Rumor intensified after Turner and Dua Lipa were spotted vacationing at Goldeneye in Jamaica, the former estate of Bond creator Ian Fleming. Okay. If Turner officially takes over the role, Amazon may be looking to make it a 2-for-1 deal. It's claimed Dua Lipa wants to record the new Bond theme, following artists like Adele, Billie Eilish, and Sam Smith. Yeah, I don't think she's really on the level with any of those guys. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Dua is over the moon for Callum. She's been saying she'd love to record the Bond theme, a source says. Let's just repeat ourselves 7 times, shall we? Next film is being written by Peaky Blinders creator Stephen Knight and overseen by Dune director Denis Villeneuve. Yes, please. Bond 26 is expected to begin filming this year with a 2027 theatrical release currently being eyed. If Villeneuve has the final say because he's EP, then surely this Callum Turner kid has got the stuff to do it. So, Paramount Plus confirms Mayor of Kingstown season 5 as final season. Cool. That's all we really need to know. Unused Batman v Superman art resurfaces. Snyderverse just won't die. Bella Ramsey doubles down on playing Spider-Man. I'm still up for it. No, you're not. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon reunite in Netflix cop thriller The Rip. Watch trailer. That's actually a pretty decent trailer. It looks like it's going to be a very interesting movie. And with those two at this point in their career, just kind of a couple of the better actors in their age group right now, like, I'll watch it. Spider-Man Brand New Day may repeat hated comic plot with MJ's new boyfriend. We'll touch on this, and then I think we are going to go to... Yeah, we'll go into stuff and things. My brain is not working. Expectations for the year, and then we'll talk about Stranger Things. Ahsoka star Eamon Esfandi has reportedly joined Spider-Man Brand New Day as MJ's new boyfriend, according to new rumor from Daniel RPK. Daniel RPK is also the one that said that Zendaya is not going to be in the movie at all, so he's conflicting against his own leaks. But Esfandi plays Ezra Bridger in Disney Plus's Ahsoka and is said to be taking on a key supporting role in the next Spider-Man movie. While Marvel Studios hasn't confirmed the casting, the rumor is already stirring backlash among fans. Spider-Man No Way Home ended with Peter Parker making the ultimate sacrifice. Doctor Strange's spell erased Peter from everyone's memory, including MJ and Ned. Final scenes showed Peter watching MJ and Ned from a distance as they went on with their lives, no longer knowing who he is. Peter chose not to reintroduce himself, leaving him completely alone, headed into the next chapter of the franchise. That status quo sets the stage for major changes in Spider-Man Brand New Day. MJ looking at me with fear. Peter, she's not the one who left. It can't be for him. Blah, 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 blah. According to the rumor, Eamon Esfandi may be playing MJ's new boyfriend, a role that that immediately reminds fans of one of Spider-Man's most disliked comic storylines. In the recent Marvel comics, MJ had a new boyfriend, Paul, following the magical reset of Peter Parker's life. That character was widely rejected by fans who saw the storyline as an attempt to further force Peter and MJ apart. This is the thing this is one of the big reasons why mainline Spider-Man has not been doing as well recently. Spider-Man Brand New Day is July 31st, 2026. So, yeah. Interesting. More Marvel trying to show us how bad we are as fans, right? By doing things that are obviously going to be upsetting to the fan base. Supergirl rumor, I don't care. James Gunn admits DCU future may not be sustainable. Also don't care. Because he's not going to be in the future with the DCU. Marvel drops new Wonder Man trailer. Also don't care. Will Smith sued by male tour violinist. Oh boy. Stranger Things spinoff, entirely new mythology. This might be a fun transition into the Stranger Things discussion. Let's do that. All right, so spinoff. We all knew that there was going to be a Stranger Things spinoff. This is what the Duffers have to say about it right now. Duffer Brothers are already teasing what comes next after Stranger Things, confirming that a spinoff is in development and that the finale, which dropped Wednesday, includes a subtle hint about where the franchise is headed. In a new interview, Ross Duffer shut down some popular fan theories while offering a clearer idea of what the spinoff will and won't be. It's also known the duo won't be involved as they recently signed a huge deal with Paramount that kicks off in April. So, this is your warning. Right here and right now, we are going to talk about the end of Stranger Things. So if you haven't watched it yet, why are you here? So continuing with this article before we get to that, speaking to Deadline, Ross Duffer made it clear that the spinoff won't focus on familiar characters or obvious extensions of the main series. This needs to be internalized by a lot of you in the nerdy community because a lot of people are theorizing that it's going to focus on, what's her name? Holly, right? That's the little sister. Do you remember? Yeah? A lot of people are theorizing it's going to revolve around Holly. That would be an obvious extension of the main series. It's not going to happen. He specifically ruled out a Hopper-led Montauk project, which is another big one that I've heard. It's the whole Montauk thing. The reason why, let's get into this real quick. The reason why this is theorized for being the spinoff is because the original title of Stranger Things before it became Stranger Things was Montauk because they... Oh, I thought I heard an alarm. I apologize. they were going to base the series in Montauk. There was something that the show is based on that happened in real life in Montauk, and that's why why they chose that title. So at the end, when Hopper is proposing to Joyce and says we need to move to Montauk, that is an Easter egg. That is not a clue. But here we have it straight from the horse's mouth. Specifically ruled out a Hopper-led Montauk project, saying the reference in the finale, there we go, was simply a nod to longtime fans who know the show's original concept was titled Montauk. See, everything I just said confirmed. He also dismissed the idea of a spin-off centered around Holly Wheeler. There we go. Again, everything I just said, or the younger kids, because that would be an obvious connection to the main story. Instead, Ross said the idea is something much smaller and far more contained than fans might assume. Quote, I know. We were just talking about this. I don't know if I want to, but I will say, though, it's not Hopper mentioning Montauk. There's no Montauk spinoff. That was more of a wink to the fans. Deep cut fans know that's how that the show started as Montauk. It's obviously not Holly and the kids or anything like that. It's something much smaller than that. According to the Duffers, the Stranger Things spinoff will introduce an entirely new mythology, even though it remains connected to the main series. Ross, so if you think of Stranger Things seasons 1 through 5 as a D&D campaign, it's kind of the most convoluted and ridiculous D&D campaign, because at the end they were definitely just flying by the seat of their pants, making it up as they went along. But still, if you think of it as a D&D campaign, we came to the conclusion of that campaign. We are now starting a brand new campaign with a new DM, very literally, because we have a new showrunner because the Duffers are going to Paramount. So, while it is going to be the same universe as the Stranger Things we know and love-ish, it is not going to be directly connected to what we got because it's a brand new campaign of D&D. There, simplified it. Ross explained that the project is still in early development, but the general goal is to tell a standalone story that exists within the Stranger Things universe rather than extend the original narrative directly. Spinoff will also answer lingering questions left unresolved in the finale, questions the brothers intentionally chose not to fully explain in the final season. Again, I quote, "We've said this before. The spinoff idea we have is early days, but it's an entirely new mythology. So it is connected and is going to answer some questions that people have. And there's some lingering questions that weren't answered in the finale that will be answered in the spinoff. But at the end of the day, it's got its own story and its own mythology." So, let's talk Stranger Things. Very specifically, I'm just going to talk about the spoilers because we can kind of brush over the two, I guess it's 3 sections that they released it in, right? So we have the first set of episodes is episodes 1 through 4. The second sets of episodes is 3 through 7, and then the final episode came out a week after that. Episodes 1 through 4. I think we might have talked about it when it originally came out because that was probably right before we went radio silence, but they worked. They were kind of overblown and definitely like way too exposition dumpy, but they were still fine. There was still enough to move the plot forward in every episode that even if it did feel like it was a little bit of a bloated runtime, you could put up with it because enough happened in the episodes that it was you were willing to overlook the bloated runtime to an extent. 5, 6, and 7. That's what I was looking for. Episodes 5, 6, and 7. So to part 2 of season 5. Kind of did away with the action and was basically all exposition, and then ended with the most ridiculous coming out speech scene in modern popular culture, because like all of the things that Will had to say about the way he was feeling and all of this that and the other, um they put way too much weight on the fact that he was gay, because at this point nobody cares. But also, they already have a gay character that is widely accepted by the group. Yes, I understand that she does not have like she's not out to the community at large, I guess you could say, but she's out to the group of kids that we're following, the main characters of our story. So it's kind of pointless if she's already so well accepted and very obviously gay that any of what Will said had weight at that point. Like there's no, it completely chops all of his sentiment off at the knees. There's no gravity to what he has to say at that point, because he's worried about nothing. Very clearly he's worried about nothing. His friends do not care because they already have a gay friend. So that was just much ado about nothing for.
It reduced something that they wanted to be so significant to something melodramatic, or that should be so significant.
Yeah.
To something melodramatic.
Yeah, there's no mic back there, but what Meg just said is they made something that would have otherwise had great gravitas even. It would have been a very important moment to the story. It becomes melodrama, and like that is exactly the way, I can't even think of the kid's name who plays Will, but that is exactly the way it plays out on screen too, is he's being melodramatic, and it just completely deflates any weight that scene could have had. And like, it could have had some weight. This is a show set in the 80s that, you know, that's when kind of the pop culture became super aware and super okay with the gay culture or the gay community, or however you want to put that. So like, that could have been very impactful for people who identify as such. But if you have a character that's been going in this story since season, I think she was introduced in season 2, at the very least season 3, so for the last 2 to 3 seasons, and she's widely accepted by our main characters, like that just, anyway, I'm talking in circles. So there's that. But the big thing, I think that was there. I mean, there were a number of things, but all of the factors, all of the issues that the series had kind of came to the season rather had kind of came to a head in the final episode. There's a lot of the duffers kind of shooting from the hip and seeing what the hell sticks. There's a lot of just completely undoing things that they like. There's narrative threads that they set up. There's whole groups of character types that they established that are no longer even present, let alone significant. What am I talking about? There apparently are only 3 demodogs, because they all got blown up by the blonde mom. Names. I'm horrible with names. I apologize. But those 3 demodogs get blown up in the hospital, and those are the only demodogs that we see. And then the demogorgons, the full-blown demogorgons, which I think got a little bit of a redesign for season 5, because they definitely looked beefier in season 5. It might be because they were exclusively CG. I don't think there was any practical effect to the demogorgons this time around, where previously, anytime we've seen a demogorgon, there have been some shots that were a dude in a suit. This time there were no shots that were a dude in a suit, so they had a little bit more leeway in the creative side of things. They made them beefy. They looked like they hit the gym. But all of the Vecna too, we'll get there. All of the demogorgons, which we were led to believe that there was an army of these things, but Will just destroys approximately 3 to 5. I think it was about 5, if memory serves. Will destroys 5 of them with his newfound powers, which is a tacked on story element. This was not planned. I can guarantee you this was not planned. We will get to that. But Will Will having these powers, and he takes out the Demogorgons, there's apparently just those 5 Demogorgons, so they're out of the equation. But what the hell happened to the bats? Like, I thought the Upside Down was a dangerous place, and Eddie died because of these bats, and now the bats are just no longer a thing. There's a point in time, I'm pretty sure it was in the episode before they go to the Upside Down to try and take out Vecna by putting 11 in the tank of water in the Upside Down. I'm pretty sure that was the episode. That was an episode where they reestablished, because they had established this previously, but they reestablished that there was no water in the Upside Down, and then they go straight to a tank of water. So there's that. The fact that the Upside Down was no longer the scary place that it started out as feels like a massive oversight. Like, I was talking about this with a guy I work with, and the season 5 simultaneously somehow feels super, super rushed, because by the time we get to the point where we've figured out everything that's going on, we have a kaiju fight for some reason, which was cool. I dug the kaiju element of the Mind Flayer. Bring back that design that we kind of got a glimpse of in season 1. That's bringing things around, sure. But, like, that felt a little tacked on as well. But, like, we kind of destroy Vecna fairly quickly because we've run out of story time, which is reminiscent of a bad D&D dungeon master. Like, your DM, if they put all of their time into building the world and not all of their time building the story, then you're going to run into a D&D game like this, where you get all this really cool exposition, and then the battle to get to the end boss that they have set up, whoever they've decided for this map, or this dungeon rather, campaign. That's the word I was looking for. Goodness. Whoever they've chosen for the end boss for their campaign, like, getting to that end boss is always an epic battle, and then you get to the end boss and you kind of destroy him real quick because they had all the hype in the first half of the story, or even the main arc, the first building action. So, like, it also feels like a D&D game in that respect, because they kind of just blew their load way too soon. But there's also an element that I hadn't really thought of, and then I think somebody at work, or maybe it was somebody in a video review or something that I was watching, but I think it was Jeremy Johns. I'm vaguely recalling exactly who it was right now. Jeremy Johns, I'm pretty sure in his review he pointed out, and I hadn't thought about this. So we establish in season 5 that all of these creatures, the Demodogs, the Demogorgons, the bats, the everything, all of these creatures come from this, as he called it, Dimension X, which is, Ninja Turtles reference, and I love him for that. But all of these things actually come from Dimension X, right? Come from where the Mind Flayer is stuck, theoretically. And they're coming through this portal into the Upside Down. And then they establish some sort of residency in the Upside Down, and then they rip from the Upside Down into our world. And, like, so, but the key here is their origin is Dimension X. When we get to Dimension X, the only life there is the Mind Flayer and Vecna. That seems like we should have been ramping up in the danger levels. The Upside Down is super dangerous. We can't go there unless we go in, small groups. And then we get to Dimension X, and we should all stay as one large group because everything is out to eat us. Like, this is that just stands to reason. Like, that should be the logical elevation. And then we get to the Mind Flayer, and everything backs off. All of the dangers back away because the Mind Flayer is the ultimate big bad in Dimension X. And so nothing wants to screw with the Mind Flayer or the mind. It's all hive mind stuff. So, like, if we're near the hive, also that we have a hive mind element, and we have none of the smaller elements are there to protect the hive mind. That's just bonkers. Anyway, so Vecna, we get to Vecna, also got his little glow up. I really, 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 really love the redesign of Vecna for season 5. It was fantastic. I feel like a lot of the special effects budget was put into that because that looked the best of all of the, like, the Demogorgons always look kind of rubbery and weird. The Mind Flayer looks very much like it comes straight from Pacific Rim. Like, the special effects are good, but like you can see them. Vecna's special effects, though, if you're not paying super close attention, you will miss the fact that a lot of that is not practical. It looks practical in most of those shots. It's really, really cool. Obviously, it's not because a person's body isn't shaped like that, but I feel like that glow up was pretty freaking great. But then we have, again, all of this buildup. We see that Vecna and the Mind Flayer have become almost a single entity, and the element of them fighting both sides of that entity at the same time works super well. How we get to that point really sucks, and how long we stay in that point really sucks, because after we've defeated Vecna, which took, I think there's something like 8 minutes of screen time once we're actually in the fight with Vecna and the Mind Flayer, they go down pretty fast. After that happens, we have another hour and like 10 minutes of story going on where we get to see like all of the happy endings. It was almost as many endings as The Lord of the Rings. Like, it was kind of obscene. I don't need, like, the Dustin stuff at graduation. That was pretty cool. The Mike stuff is kind of necessary because you have to open up the potential for, I'm going to check chat real quick. Open up the potential for the ambiguous ending, right? The ambiguous ending needs to be set up. So the stuff with Mike, that makes sense as well. But everything else that happens after we defeat Vecna and the Mind Flayer is bloat, is unnecessary. It gives you warm fuzzies, sure, but like, I feel like that would have been plenty accomplished if we had just got the graduation ceremony and maybe touch on some of that stuff with Mike, and then the very, very last scene where we have Mike and all of the kids putting their books back up and going upstairs, and then the new kids coming downstairs to play their campaign of D&D. They're going to start their own D&D. It's going to be awesome. That's all we needed for the warm fuzzies. And then, like, just all of the bloat just kills me. They had to make it 2 hours, man. It's their epic storyline. It's they're just masturbating on screen. So the final issue that I have with the Stranger Things ending, because I know so many people care, but the final thing I have with this is Will's copium. let's just put it out there. Not Will, I'm sorry, Mike. Mike's copium. That's what it is. So there are theories, and the Duffers intended for this to be ambiguous. That is very, very clear. They, though, don't follow their own rules in so doing, in setting up the ambiguity. What do I mean? So the whole cope that Mike is going with is 11 communicated with him telepathically. They were inside her brain, so she's using her powers to communicate with him. And She shouldn't have been able to do that according to the way Mike remembers things, because those speakers that hurt 11 and apparently Kali, those speakers were activated and they were pointed at the kids. So 11 should not have been able to use her powers. Couple of things don't work with that theory, though. A couple of really big things don't work with that theory. Excusing even the fact that potentially Callie is alive long enough to project the image of 11 on the wrong side of the portal. Let's grant that, because it's a weak argument, but it's still an argument that can be made, that Callie has the ability to project from very long distances. Also, she could have projected, because we see her very dead, like that was shown on screen. Her death was on screen, but again, she has the ability to make you see what she wants you to see. So you can make the argument, again, I think it's weak, but you can make the argument that she projected so that we being Hopper in that instance, we saw her dead so that we would leave her there in order to fully enact her plan. And then she can project this projection from very far away, but I feel like she would have to know exactly where they were, because again, the instance that they show to set up that she can do this, she's projecting an image of herself from very far away in a place where she knows intimately, because she was being held captive there. So like that adds a whole bunch of X factors. Either way, though, that's not the crux of my argument. That we're going to allow that. That is allowed. The issue here is we have established that those speakers that produce the signal that stops Kali and 11 from using their powers, at one point, it is very much obvious that Kali is the source of their ability to do that. So they break their own rules when Kali is released, and they're still able to use those speakers. So that's one thing. But again, we'll allow that even. If those speakers do as they establish, they are unidirectional. They only work if you're standing in front of them. Those speakers were all pointed away from the portal that leads to the Upside Down that the military had cut out. So if all of those speakers are pointed away from that portal, and 11 is on the other side of that portal, she very much can use her abilities to communicate with Mike telepathically. So this whole idea that, well, she couldn't use her abilities, it had to be Kali from very far away because she's away from the dampeners, does not work, because these are unidirectional devices. They only work if you're standing in front of them. If you're standing behind them, they do not affect you, and 11 was very much behind them. I'm sure it was very obviously a cheat to get her there, because we cut from her inside the truck with everyone else to all of the sudden she's missing, and then all of the sudden she's on the other side of the portal. Like, that was a bit of a cheat, but still, you're establishing her on the non-functional side of these dampeners. So, of course, she can still use her abilities if she's on the side that doesn't hurt her. Everything else after that is cope. Everything else is just Will saying, no, she's alive and she just can't contact us because reasons. So what would I change? Because whenever we're critical of something like this, we have to give a more functional alternative, right? So the more functional alternative here would be, the more functional alternative here would be, because 11 and Callie's powers, and therefore Will's as well, because anyone who has these abilities, they effectively get them from Vecna, who also gets them from the Mind Flayer, which apparently, we'll get into that in just a second, but apparently you have to see the stage production in order to fully know all of the things. So, if if they gave 11 and Kali powers because they have Vecna's blood in them. Henry, there we go. Because they have Henry's blood in them, that's what gives them their abilities, right? Henry gets his abilities from the Mind Flayer. We kill the Mind Flayer. We kill Henry. 11's powers could have then been turned off, could have been no longer an issue. Like, that would make more sense than trying to do this weird cope thing where you're trying to make something ambivalent. That's not the word I'm looking for. Whatever. You're trying to set up ambivalence. There we go. In order to have some sort of epic ending, the better option here, I think, would be make 11 a normal person because the source of her abilities has been shut off. Vecna doesn't exist anymore. The Mind Flayer doesn't exist anymore. That is the source of these powers. If that source isn't there anymore, the powers aren't there anymore. 11 then graduates. Like, that's the better warm, fuzzy feeling ending. Or fully commit to killing her, because that's how season 1 ended. That's how they wanted to end the story originally. Season 1 ends, she follows the Demogorgon through the portal, and poof, she's gone. Like, no weird, like, ambivalent, or that's, I know that's not the word, and I'm just brain farting, and I apologize, but no weird, like, could it be this way, could it be that way? It's no, she jumped through the portal, she's gone. Like, why do we need this option? Either commit to doing the sad ending or commit to doing the happy ending and stop riding the fence. I honestly would probably respect the decision much more if you just commit fully to the sad ending. Have our main characters mourn the loss of their friend, have them accept it and become better people for having accepted something so difficult, or give us the warm fuzzies and let 11, like, it feels a little try hard to me. All of that being said, all of that rambling mess being said, I still think that it was super entertaining. I think that the whoever did the music for season 5 deserves a freaking Emmy. That was fan-freaking-tastic. I did literally, in the middle of an episode, turned to my girlfriend and said, "This music is fantastic. This is so good," because the synths just hit. The timing, the emotion that they were evoking from you as in the right spots, it was just well done on that level. I really think well done on almost every level. The acting was pretty good. The kid who plays Jonathan is kind of incredible. Just like, wow. Apparently he's going to be in that really terrible industry show in the next season, which sucks. No, it's bad. I have not watched more than a few episodes. That's fair, but from what I've seen, it's terrible. But yeah, he's going to be in that show on HBO Max apparently next season. I think this kid is definitely one that's worth watching. Finn Wolfhard, we already know, is a pretty good little actor, but he's getting more into the production side of things. There's a lot about this that's super, super well done. I just think that the writing missed a lot. The writing was saved by the fact that it's had 8 years, 10 years, or however long it's been going behind it. That's the only reason people watched it all the way to the end, because if this had been season 1, there would have been too many flaws and people would have given up because it just didn't make logical sense. So yeah, it was good. I definitely appreciated it. I definitely had fun watching it. I just think that there were some major issues involved, and if this is a sign of pop culture entertainment to come. I think it's a good one. I just don't think this is going to be what we remember. Like season 5 is going to be the stain in the history of the Stranger Things franchise. Like season 5 is going to be, we go, oh man, it was so good, and then they kind of lost their way on the last season. A little Game of Thrones esque, though not quite to that level. Because Game of Thrones was like, I'm pissed off. I don't even want to watch the final episode. Bad. And this one was, no, I'll watch it all the way through. I have some things to say, but I'll watch it all the way through. So anyway, that's kind of where I stand on Stranger Things. So I was going to do 2025 or 2026 predictions. I don't know that I honestly, I feel like we will still do a predictions situation. Not tonight. We might actually do that as the only thing for the stream next week, because it is like we got started, like I said, an hour later than I wanted. And it's kind of late, and I have work tomorrow. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna. I think we're gonna call that a stream. I appreciate your faces, nerds. Don't forget to go grab. Oop, I'm pushing buttons, and I don't mean to. Don't forget to go grab your music nerd. I gotta see the camera because I gotta know that I'm in. There we go. Go grab your music nerd shirt from the store. Again, links down in the video description. Let me know in the comments, man. Do you agree? I mean, I was kind of rambling there for a minute, but like, I feel like I made some salient points. Do you agree with what I had to say about any of this stuff, specifically the Stranger Things stuff? I really want to know. I think that's a fun conversation to have. I think the Duffers are going to do better things, and I think that they were just in a hurry to get out of their Netflix contract is honestly a strong portion of why I think season 5 kind of faltered. But yeah, give me your opinion. Let's talk about that down in the comment section. Let's do all of the things. I appreciate you nerds for joining me on these streams. I don't know when the next stream will be because, like I said, uprooting my entire life and putting it in a different place is hard to do. So streams are going to be kind of few and far between for the next few weeks to couple months even. I will try. I'm not going to commit to this 100%, but I will try to keep some sort of something posted, even if it's reaction videos, which I never got the Street Fighter reaction video done that I wanted to, and it's a little late for that now. But yeah, I will get something up, so we'll have at least one new video a week until we get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Once the relocation is done, we will probably do another few weeks of streams while I get everything situated. But until then, nerds, I appreciate you. I very much enjoy the conversation that we have in the comments section and in the chat when we're live. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can see when we've gone live, so that you can join in the active conversation as well. All of that being said, I'm rambling again. I appreciate you, nerds. We'll see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably